yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome and thank you for joining us. It truly is a terrific Thursday and we got a chance to talk to two of the contestants in the Miss Teen pageant coming up on Saturday. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And please, join me in extending a very warm Thursday Talk Today. Welcome to two of our Miss Teen contestants, Miss Leticia Bush and Miss Aaliyah Harrison. It is good afternoon, and I must share, I'm so proud of both of you. Not just the enthusiasm, the charisma, charm, but the character, integrity, and the fact that you have this poise and grace. So it's an honor to be able to sit here and look so beamingly at what is an expected, bright and wonderful future. So, good afternoon, Miss Bush, Miss Harrison.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you guys today?
Very nervous.
Me too. I'm in the presence of celebrities. I mean, supermodels. I feel like, and I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. But thank you so much for coming on. And I think many parents in particular don't really appreciate what it takes for you guys to do this. The time out of your schedule, but great, that courage, the sacrifice, and then at the end of the day, we can look to you and say, "Wow, we can be motivated." Who wants to share with me first about why did you decide to jump into Miss Teen? Jump? Yeah, why not? Okay.
So good afternoon, Cayman. I'm Aaliyah Harrison. The reason I chose to do Miss Teen, from a very young age, I wanted to do Miss Teen. I always liked the dress up, the makeup, and I knew that I have the ability to do something great. So I entered Miss Teen just for experience, and also to widen my confidence. So
indeed. What about you?
Okay, hi Cayman. I'm Leticia Bush, contestant number 2. I chose to do Miss Teen for many different reasons. I really thought it would be a great experience that we go through. You learn a lot. You learn etiquette training. You learn how to speak properly. You learn how to present yourself. And I thought that these were all very valuable skills that would be able to take further with me. Also, I just wanted to make myself into a better person, as well as use my experience and my story to help inspire others.
And that's an encouraging part. I think sometimes we don't always appreciate what our youth face. And for me, a youth is in about under 50. And then when I get 90, I'll be on 90. Okay. But it's that, it's the world that sort of we live in now. As different as it is from our grandparents, it's still so much alike. We're all young. We're all facing things for the first time. Doesn't matter whether you're in 1980 or 2080. That thing that you see for the first time is the thing that you see for the first time. Sure. What is it like for you, Ms. Harrison, from the perspective of you're preparing for Miss Teen, you're in the community, your family, your friends are all cheering you on, but life goes on, right? So tell me, what has it been like?
Well, Miss Teen is hard work. You have to put your best foot out everywhere you go. You have to be on point. So for me, the journey has been good. I learned etiquette training. I learned how to sit right. I learned public speaking because Yeah.
I'm still learning those things.
We just learn different skills that I could take with me throughout my whole life. So that is why I enjoy this journey so much, and that I met so many girls that I didn't know had all these different personalities. So it's a good journey.
Yeah. For you, Alicia?
Well, this journey has been quite a memorable one. It has been, I'm not like very stressful to be honest with you, but it's really good. It helps me to like make sure that I learn proper time management. I know my priorities and just get myself prepared for the working world. But it's a lot, and it does take a lot of dedication and hard work. You have to really want it to go through this journey, but it has been a wonderful experience. All of my friends and family are very supportive of me, and it means a lot to know that people believe in me that way. And also my partner sisters, they're all wonderful. They have made it fun. We're all so different, but we get along so well.
Yeah. It's different, but sometimes that difference is what sort of makes us who we are, but makes us appreciative that there's so much beauty in the world because of those differences. But as much as we're different, we're so much alike as well, right? The hard work, I don't think many people appreciate, because if we come in the evening in particular, we see the final product. We see all the preparations done, but we don't get to see what has went on behind the scenes. The priorities, the time management, skills that you're going to take with you, whether you continue your studies, whether you're working and studying, whether you're managing your family, your business. Sometimes just having to travel somewhere. I got to get to the airport. I got to get packed. Yep. Everything that we take for granted sometimes becomes much more honed when you have the opportunity. What was the best part so far about the pageant?
The
preparation, I like it.
The best part for me would have to be Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite part. Toastmaster International, they come and they train the ladies every Wednesday for speech. So they teach us how to organize a speech in our heads, how to make sure that you answer the question efficiently on the stage. And it's just, I don't know why, but that was just my favorite part. I love learning how I can communicate with others better, how I can connect with them better. If it's just simple body language and eye contact, it all makes a difference. Mm-hmm. So that would definitely be my favorite part, and just being able to show that during our speech at the session ceremony.
There you go. What about you, Ms. Harrison? You have a favorite part yet?
Well, I have a lot. A lot. I enjoy practice every day. Like, I can't wait till 5 o'clock. I'd be like, I need to go to practice. So I enjoy practicing. I enjoy Toastmasters, especially because they help you with your public speaking, how to answer your question fully, how to just position yourself, how to give eye contact. I enjoy the swimwear practice, which that is fun. And also I enjoy etiquette training.
I must share, I appreciate you telling us that, because I think too many times we don't appreciate the little things that really, really matter. And you talk about etiquette training in the public speaking. We all could use that, whether we phrase it that way, whether we think that we're entering some sort of competition, whether we're interviewing for a job, whether we're just working with our colleagues on a team to achieve something. Maybe it's a community service project. The ability to be able to interact and communicate effectively with people. But a lot of us don't have that courage that you guys have. I mean, it's challenging. You make it look easy, but it isn't.
It's a work in progress.
It's a lot of work, huh?
It's a lot of work, especially to get you to that point of where you're this confident in yourself that you can just go on stage and you'll be fantastic no matter what. It is a lot.
Yeah, man. Well, I know you guys will be fantastic. And I think as we look at all the contestants thus far, it reminds us that if we as a community respect and reward and recognize you guys, we sort of sow into your lives, we're going to have a great future, because we can have a wonderful present right now. All right.
Definitely.
To those parents, but also your fellow teenagers who might be considering Miss Teen next time, maybe another pageant, maybe it's Miss Cayman down the road, maybe it's some other sort of public engagement where they're going to have to get out there and present. Hey, maybe they're going to be campaigning for politics down the road. I don't know. What would you say to them? Why should they do it? And when should they start?
Well, I would tell any young girl out there, you have to be determined. You have to have that confidence. If you want to be on top, you have to put your best foot forward, You also have to come out, you be like, I'm ready for this. I just want to get it done with. Because, at the end of the day, this is what you want to do. So if you have that confidence and you really want to do something, just go for it.
There you go.
Okay.
Ms. Bush?
To anybody that is considering enter either Miss Teen or another pageant, I say go for it. But you have to prepare yourself mentally before. So just make sure that you know yourself, you know what you stand for, you know your values, and just make sure that you have that moral that nobody else can push before you enter the pageant. Also, key tip, make sure you get sponsored before you enter the pageant, because when you start, it is hard.
You know what? Thank you for that. That is the reality. People don't appreciate that it can be cost, and not just the financial aspect, but the time and just the movement of getting. But most of you don't drive at the stage, or there'll be that aspect to consider.
It takes a lot, especially if your parents are very supportive, because they're going to have to be like your taxi driver through this process everywhere.
Everywhere.
Until like 11 or 10.
Until like 10 at night when we finish training.
Yeah, and that's the other part too. We don't see you have your regular life, so to speak, during the day, and then from 5 for the next 6 hours or so, you have to be committed to this. And that's the volunteers.
It's all worth it, though.
It's all worth it?
It's all worth it. You could take it throughout your life. You can use it everywhere you go.
Well, I think
and the people that you meet, they impact you so powerfully that it really is a life-changing event just going through this pageant.
All right. When we come back from our break, could we talk to you more about it? Maybe speak to your platform, why you selected it, what it means to you. Share with us as you wish. For those who are listening, the Miss Teen pageant is this Saturday evening, Lions Center. All right.
7 o'clock.
Gates open 5:30.
We have tickets too, guys.
Make sure to get your tickets, unless you want to pay that extra $5.
We'll tell you how to get those tickets in a second. We invite you to be a part of a discussion. Mr. Leticia Bush, Mr. Leah Harrison are two of the contestants in the studio. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Want to call and share your thoughts? Let's go right ahead. I think before we go to the break, though, they can, because I know you guys on social media. We are on YouTube. No, is that where we are, Miss Susan? Yeah, so Radio Cayman Live, YouTube. You can find us there. But before we go to the break, Miss Harrison, you first. If they want to follow you, see you, watch you, you guys are live streaming now. And
we're live on Instagram, guys. My Instagram name is Aaliyah Harrison 4.
All right.
Okay. I'm live as well, Leticia Bush _2.
There you go. So tell your friends, and you can find it. Look at them, though. Don't look at me. We go to a break. When we come back, please rejoin us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's new kitchen and bath center.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.com. or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thank you so much for joining us. I hope that the two wonderful young ladies don't mind me saying you are just so respectful and respectable. And as a parent, but also as somebody who's not as young as I've been accused of being, I feel so honored to see such a wonderful poise, grace, passion, but also enthusiasm and ability within our young people. And I commend you for the courage and the conviction for going forward on this platform.
Thank you.
So, Miss Leticia Bush, Miss Aaliyah Harrison, two of the contestants in the Miss Teen pageant this coming Saturday evening. Lion Center, 5:30 the gates open, yes. 7 p.m. the pageant gets underway.
Yes, sir.
All right, tickets. Before we get into what we're going to continue, tickets are open.
Tickets are open. The Miss Teen contestants themselves have tickets to be sold. And at Funky Tanks, the outlet store. It is $15 for children, which is about anybody under 12 or 14.
Age of 12.
Age of 12. Mm-hmm. And then it is $25 for general and $40 for VIP.
All right. Now, you can call your friends. We're on YouTube, so you go there and you find us there. But two of our contestants are also on social media, Instagram, right? So, Ms. Bush, remind people they can call their friends and they go, hey, look, I can see them. So if you go to Instagram.
If you go to my Instagram fan page, which is Leticia Bush _2, you can join my live and just be here in the studio with us.
There you go. And
it's Aaliyah Harrison 4 for me.
All right. So see that? Now we're going to talk about some of those things. You guys have allowed me an opportunity to ask you about social media because old guys sometimes need a little bit of help. But before we do, you each have a particular, I call it a platform. Is that the right? Okay.
That's the correct term.
All right. Because Susan and I have a platform as well. Hers is, save chocolate minus eat chocolate. Miss Bush, first, your platform.
My platform for the pageant would be advocating for child abuse and ways it can be prevented. I chose this platform because it is really near and dear to me due to the fact that I was a victim and I was placed in foster care for all my life, basically. And I have met through the system so many other victims, and I realize how much it affects the youth nowadays and that it is really a growing problem in Cayman and that we need to find a way to control it as fast as we can because the youth are our future and we should be trying the best we can as a country to protect them.
Ms. Harrison?
So my platform is bullying. And the reason I chose bullying is because, like many others, I was a victim of bullying. So I just want to bring this awareness to the Cayman Islands because I don't want anyone else to go through the same thing I went through, because we're the future of Cayman. So I just want to bring awareness to this using the platform as Miss Teen.
And I really commend you for that because those 2 years in themselves, sometimes we as a community, even as the rest of the world, probably talk about it a lot. But are we doing enough?
Exactly.
And how effective is what we're doing reaching the people? It's lip service in some instances. With the greatest respect, I share that. He who knows it feels, all right? Yeah. Let's abuse and abuse of our elderly and of our children in particular to the sectors of our society that we say are probably, some of the most vulnerable in a sense. Abuse can be all forms and we ignore it.
Yeah,
share with us.
People don't really take into account how detrimental it is to a society if their future is being abused. Like that can really damage them psychologically, and it can take forms in many ways. It can be verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, everything. And even though it is being talked about a lot, and people are trying to raise awareness of it, I don't feel like we're actually putting things into motion to actually do something about it. We need homes to put abuse victims in, that way that they are safe. We need more foster parents. We just need more of everything. We just need people to realize how big of a problem it is and that it's just getting worse in Cayman.
And I think too, sometimes we don't appreciate that. Think to our own lives. How many of us would like to talk publicly about our stuff, whether about challenges at our job or in our homes, whether about an illness that we have, whether about something, even though it may not be as significant or detrimental compared to somebody else. Those simple things in our lives, we don't want to talk about it. But people who have experienced much graver things have to be encouraged and commended.
It really takes a lot of courage to step forward to say this is what happened to me and this is how I felt about it, because people don't like to look weak. People don't like to play the victim. And I understand that, but you realize the more you speak out, the more change happens, the more you affect people. You realize that this happened to me, but I survived it, and you can too. You can be that voice for change. You can be that example, and through empathy, you can relate, right? Ms. Arsa, bullying. We can be bullied in so many ways. People say things, do things, but now, wow, people. I've heard this often, and perhaps you can help me to maybe understand. Older people will say, well, in school, you were teased and taunted, but when you went home, you didn't have to deal with it the other day. But now, man, it's 24/7 constant. Talk to me.
You have bullying in the workplace, at home, at school. I know bullying takes place mostly at school, because everyone say, oh, you're not fully going through your childhood if you don't become a bully or you don't bully someone. So for me, I had to go through this every day. There was times when I wanted to give up. I didn't want to go to school, but then I was like, I have to get my diploma. So I need to get this. So I will just go to school. I just go to class, do my work, put my best foot forward, And now I see my bully around and he was like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty now. I never should have bullied you in school. So the more you go out there and just be yourself, it's the more they're going to see you.
Yeah. For only if you wish, right? I think sometimes we don't see the form that bullying takes. Sometimes we may hear the name called, we may see that the person has been physically, attacked in some sort. But are there other means, not just the cyberbullying, which we could ask about as well, but sometimes you don't see. I'll give you an example. I was speaking to some students recently, and these are students who I think all students are exceptional, but I think these are really smart. But they work hard, they study, they're studious. And not necessarily that athletic, but they get sort of little looks and little comments, but presumably in the classroom as well. When they are engaged and the teacher asks a question, who's the best talk show host, and they put their hand up and answer me. If they know the answer, they'll be reluctant because of the little things that happen in class as well as outside of class, and it becomes discouraging for them. Talk about that. Yeah.
Children that do that just have probably a low self-esteem. They don't have that person at home to support them, or they don't have someone at school to support them. So they tend to be like, I know the answer, but I just don't want to answer it to be like, oh, I'm better than everyone. But then again, you should just say the answer, be you. At the end of the day, the person that is peer pressuring you or not giving you the support is not going to be there throughout your whole life to tell you, okay, don't do this, do that. It's all about you. You have to be you.
I was a victim of bullying myself, and it really is a terrible thing. It can really damage a person's self-esteem and confidence, and sometimes it doesn't get better. Sometimes it's just like you always have that doubt until you really look at yourself and you realize that God made me who I am, and I am beautiful, and that I'm not going to give anybody else the power over me to make me feel less than I am. But bullying can take many different forms, just as child abuse and domestic abuse. It can take from very verbal, of course, calling names, as you said, just basically ignoring a person. That happened to me. I would just walk across and people would act like I didn't exist. That as well can make you feel very bad. So they're acting like you are not even relevant. You don't exist. You mean nothing to them. So it's not necessarily they have to talk to you. They have to attack you. They can also just say mean things on the web. So it's like you never escape it because the internet is everywhere, all around you.
How would you, only if you can, given that our young people are facing this, but probably even our young adults, so many of us in so many ways, what would you say to them? I like that advice where you say, you know what, you just do your thing and know who you are, be grounded. But what else can we do to, make sure that we hold our own and not be as negatively affected by it as we can be. What advice would you share with our young people in particular? How can we help to overcome it and make it?
Well, for me, I would tell young people, if you're facing this at home, at school, at work, just stay to yourself. You could have conversations, but just stay to yourself. Go out there and bring your personality everywhere you go, because at the end of the day, you can't be this shy person out in public and then at home you have all your personality all over the place. Just be you everywhere you go, because that's who you are and nobody can take that from you.
Be confident and be you.
One thing I say, if you are experiencing bullying anywhere, I would say the best thing for you to do right now is speak out and get the help, because if you don't and you just leave it, it really does get better. You keep doing it and you keep doing it, and then it doesn't really affect you at first, but in the long run, you will start to see changes in your attitude. Like you're not speaking as much, you're not being you, you're not wearing what you want to wear. Just certain changes like that will happen. So speak out, whether it's to a teacher, a counselor, your parent. Find someone that you can trust and talk to them. Stick to yourself. Remember who you are, and just try to hold on for as long as you can, and just remember yourself, that you are beautiful. God made you especially the way he wanted you to be made. Do not allow anybody to put you down and degrade you.
Wow. The wisdom from such young, intelligent people. Now, to that person who is abusing or is bullying to that person, how can we help them? What do we say to them? The person that is actually doing the abusing and is doing the bullying and the like. So
sometimes this happens to people that are unhappy or they just don't have the right support. You could also go out and you could talk to someone that you trust and say, hey, I'm doing this just to feel comfortable, but I am actually destroying someone's self-esteem. If you know you're doing that, just get the help you need. Talk to your counselor, your teacher, your best friend, or someone that you know that will help you, and not just say, oh, it's fine, everybody goes through it. You have to get the right help in the right time.
Bullies or abusers, they tend to have a lot of pent-up emotions, anger, sadness, and they don't have an outlet for it. So one way that they do make themselves feel better is by degrading another person. One thing I would say to a bully is that even if you are aware or you're not aware of the damage that you're doing to another person, it is very serious that you yourself realize who you are, and you realize that you do not have to do this just to make yourself seem better, just to make yourself popular, just to make yourself fit in. If you are even a bystander of someone being bullied, they're a part of it. So if you notice someone's getting bullied, speak out. If you realize that you're becoming a bully, I know it's hard. You don't want to go to someone and say, hey, I'm a bully, help me. But it's something that you need to do, because you have to realize that you are going through something, and it is very important that you seek out help where you can.
And also the bystanders, I understand where some people be like, oh, I don't want to be an informer,
and it's
but
none of my
still,
business.
At the end of the day, you can be saving someone's life.
All right.
Because you never know how far it will go.
And thank you so much. I think we don't appreciate, I don't say this lightly, but I don't say it within a sense that I'm in a great authority. But I think sometimes we use word, I'm depressed, or, depression.
And they use it a lot. Go with it. I don't think people realize how what those mean, how important those mental illnesses are, that they just say, oh, I'm so bipolar, I changed my mind, or if I say
it for the fun,
I have such bad anxiety. And it's like, when I hear that, it kind of angers me a bit, as someone that has seen people who actually have suffered from these disorders, and I realize how much it's affected their day-to-day life, and just seeing someone who fling out the word and not realize how serious it is as an issue. But I believe it's just they don't know exactly what they're saying. So I try not to go out, but I say you shouldn't be saying that just out of the blue. That is a really serious issue, and unless you've been diagnosed with it, or you actually are feeling like something may be wrong with you in that area, I don't believe that you should be saying it.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, this is what I said at the outset, that wisdom and that intellect, that insight to you exhibit is really refreshing. Such young, high school students. All right, when we come back from our break, if you so choose, a few more minutes with us, could we ask you, What do you think are some of the bigger issues, more pressing issues our young people are facing in our schools, in our communities? If you choose, we can talk about your future for yourselves and for others, and what do you see their hopes and aspirations and dreams, and then talk a little bit more about the pageant. Would that be fine?
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Aaliyah Harrison, Miss Letitia Bush, number 4 and number 2 respectively, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Of our esteemed contestants for the pageant this Saturday evening at Lions Center. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Babe, not tonight. I need to be rested for all-day meetings tomorrow.
What are you talking about? I was almost asleep.
You keep poking me, and I can't sleep.
That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about. Not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
RC Fusion featuring Billboard's pop hit songs and more from the 70s to the 90s.
RC Fusion.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. till 12. RC Fusion, brought to you by Merengue Town. Take a walk on the wild side. It's time to feel the rhythm, time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town. RC Fusion.
RC Fusion.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And if you don't already have your tickets to go and support our wonderful contestants in the upcoming Miss Teen pageant this Saturday evening, please, you can get them for any of the contestants. I think Funkatangs has them available as well. And all right.
Also,
yes,
I am doing a meet and greet 1 to 3 today at 90 Degrees Fashion, which is right across from Scotiabank. You can see me there. We can talk about whether you're interested in competing next year or whether you just want to buy tickets. That's where I'll be.
All right, that's Miss Letitia Bush, contestant number 2. And the other studio guest, contestant number 4, Miss Aaliyah Harrison. Honestly, man, I my heart just fills, and I just so much pride when I look at our young people in our community. I just hope that as a media and as parents and as a populace in general, we'll draw alongside you guys and support you, nurture, courage, discipline, direct, counsel, guide, all those things, but be there for you, because one day, if we're fortunate enough, we're going to be older and you guys are going to be running the show. Under 50. See, she is good. All right. I asked just before the break, and again, I thank you for allowing us to have this conversation. Just shows how not just informed, but how intelligent, not just how charismatic, but also how committed and compassionate you guys are, willing to share so openly and publicly. We hear a lot from different people this. But could I hear from you? What do you think are some of the more pressing issues facing our young people, perhaps our high students? But you tell us. Who wishes to go first? Miss Bush? Miss Harrison? Miss Bush.
There are definitely a lot of pressing issues that are affecting the youth lately. One, I believe, would have to be our education system. I do not believe that we are really invested enough into the education system to make it prosperous for us and our youth. I would like to see, if not the equal amount, at least a more efficient amount than what's being put into the tourism industry. I understand that tourism is very important to our economy. It keeps us afloat, but I would like to see an equal amount of money that's being invested in there into our education system, because we are there to nurture our youths. We're there to shape their minds, and we would like them to become competitive, not only locally but abroad when they go off to universities. So I would like our education to be improved. I would like there to be more programs in the school to make sure that our youths are occupied, that they're not idle, and the devil finds work for idle hands. So I believe that would be great, whether it's behavior modification programs or just extracurriculars, something to keep them busy, something to keep them on the right track.
Sarson, only if you wish to add one.
Well, I would also say the education system here, it's not that bad, but we also have children that are willing to learn, and you have those who are not willing to learn. So we can't all blame the education system, because at the end of the day, the teachers are giving us the input of what we need to learn, but some of us are not grasping it. So I wouldn't say the education system is that messed up as the teacher was describing it.
I just want to improve.
Yeah, improve.
It can be improved.
Have proper equipment and facilities. Please.
Yeah. There you go.
That is different. That is siblings. That is not the education.
Yeah, man. And I like the fact that you both recognize that education is that, not just the equalizer, but that thing that's going to propel us, make us competitive internationally, improve our tourism product, because our populace are more informed as to how to serve our guests, how to take up the employment prospects. And with people like you, our future is going to be very rewarding indeed. With that, though, as we go and we look at the issues, I'll be mindful, because scholarships are down the road, employment is down the road. We live in a society that don't always, are as forgiving as we, but we say, for the pageant and for this Saturday, then, as we close our discussion, what would you want to share with our listeners as you invite them to come? What it's going to be like, I guess the studio is yours. For Saturday then, what are we expecting? Share with us.
For Saturday, you're expecting a lot of entertainment. I've seen the performers practice, and it is going to be lit. I'm not even joking. I wish I could be outside in the audience screaming. I must say, prepare yourself. It is going to be yes, you're going to be blown away. It's going to be very entertaining. My favorite part is going to be the swimsuit. You're going to see why. I hope to see you out there. Remember, tickets are on sale right now. Get them. Not buy them at the gate, because then you're going to be mad. Get there early to get a good seat. And remember, show your support. If you have someone that you're rooting for, don't be afraid to prompt up yourself. Make sure that you have their sign, their pictures, their t-shirts. Just make sure that you're out there and you're engaged and you're having fun.
Well, Saturday is a night to be prepared for, We've been doing this for 2 months now.
Yes.
We've been prepared for 2 months, and everything is on point. I saw the girls from being shy. Well, I was shy too, but, I saw the girls being from shy to up there, so everyone is getting out of their shell, and we're doing this for our public, for ourselves, and just for the Cayman Islands. So everyone just show your support for the young people of Cayman, for we are the future.
Before I ask you about your potential of what you think in your future would be like, what maybe you might want to study and the like. I was reminded earlier that for those of us who don't come to the pageants often as the audience, right? We got our family members. Miss Bush, you shared earlier. We're bring our signs, our placards. It's like we're going to a football match. We're going to be cheering for our team. Or that's okay, right?
Be prepared to lose your voice.
Yeah, come out there and shout and cheer. And part of that energy is what's going to drive the evening. So we can come out there, just don't come sit there and
exactly. Just like no,
this is like the World Cup, right?
But better.
But
Yeah.
Thank you, and everybody from the contestants, all those in the audience. Everybody look. I mean, they look so great. They all dress up to the 99s.
Yeah, dress up.
99. She's like,
or
old
to
word.
the 90 degrees.
To the 90 degrees. She just gave you a plug. There you go. All right. Closing thoughts, and if I can ask, future, where do you see? Where would you like to be in the future? Things you want to study, maybe career you want to pursue, things you want to see happen. Who would like to go first? Miss Harrison? All right.
So, in the near future, very, very near, I would like to be a family lawyer.
That's what you said last time. I love that passion.
I love being a family lawyer.
I remember when you
sticking
to
it
it
from I was small. So
you know what? I think that's something people need to understand. That was a conviction that you had. But both of you, I think, have had that
yeah,
desire.
I want to be a lawyer as well, but not family necessarily, more environmental.
Yeah, and that was something you guys both had from very early, right? And see that people who know what they want because of that drive and that passion. So, Miss Harrison, a family lawyer, Miss Bush, an environmental lawyer.
Yes, right
we're
now.
We're gonna be buddies.
Yeah, I can see it. Harrison Bush, Bush Harrison. Right?
No, it's Harrison Bush.
Oh my God.
Okay, it'll be Ebanks and Ebanks, and we can hire the two of you.
There you go. Ebanks. Get the West Bayers in.
Yeah,
no, it's Harrison Bush.
You guys are so jovial. I just love the fact that you just love life and you're so natural. So an environmental lawyer, right?
Environmental lawyer. It's not only environmental. I'm not.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Eh?
I am actually considering, before going into law, doing a degree in social work.
Mm-hmm.
Only because it is. Well, I'm in my second year right now at UCCI, so after my associate degree, I'm thinking about continuing a degree in social work because it is I'm becoming very passionate about working with the youth and getting out there and doing what I can to change the community. And I think being someone who has experienced the system and being someone who has seen how the changes that we need to be made, I believe that if I do go to that road, I can affect more people. I can make a bigger change, and I can change the community for the better. And also law, because I love law. I love it so much, especially how I believe that environmental lawyer is something that is really needed in Cayman, because we do run on tourism, and we want to keep our island as tropical and as natural as we possibly can. Make sure that infrastructure is really destroying our natural resources and so on.
I love both your passion, man, and your beam and gleam to change the world for better. The joys of being young.
But we're still under 50.
You hear that, Miss Susan? I know what, I gotta make a note here. Oh man, but that is it, and always hold your heads high. You guys have an incredible statue, an opportunity. You also have that conviction and that grounding, and you will be successful. And how Susan and I can help you guys, We're here, man. Right, Miss Susan? All right. Final thoughts, Miss Harrison? Remind us of your Instagram and all the other stuff.
So my Instagram is Aaliyah Harrison 4.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my Instagram is Leticia_Bush_2. I would also like to do a couple of shout outs. A shout out to my pageant mamas, Miss Joanne, Caroline West, I see you on my live, and Miss Jennifer. Also to my sponsors, Caribbean Partition and 90 Degrees Fashion. Remember, you can stop by 90 Degrees Fashion, which is right across from Scotiabank, anytime between 1 and 3 today to come see me, and also to purchase tickets if you need.
All right, thank you.
And I also want to shout out to my sponsor, Pro Plus Garden Center and Fred's Auto Body, and to my mom and family around the world. Thank you for your support throughout the whole competition. It really means a lot. Thank you.
And thank you both for coming on the show today and share with us, but also for hopefully reminding us as parents, for those who are over 50, under 50. So we have, an incredible, awesome responsibility, but an opportunity to help to nurture and guide you. Provide scholarships for education, tuition, instruction, sponsorship, internships, and the like, because you guys are going to take up the mantle and make our country and our world that much better, right?
Sir.
Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the afternoon, but an exceptional pageant come Saturday then.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
Thank you
Miss
again.
Leah Harrison, Miss Leticia Bush, two of our contestants and upcoming Miss Teen this Saturday. I'm going to pause and take a break. I think Miss Anita had something in store for me. We'll see if that materializes. I don't know. I want to find out what's going to happen next. Do you? Well, come back after the news.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
This Saturday, 5 young ladies are set to compete for the coveted title of Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2018. Committee member Juliette Gooding said the pageant hopefuls have already hit the ground running with runway training, public speaking sessions, as well as island visits and educational tours. The competition is scheduled for August 25th at the Lions Centre. For tickets and the very latest, head to their Facebook page, Miss Teen Cayman Islands. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Impeach me and the market crashes. U.S. President Donald Trump has responded to speculation that he might be impeached by warning that any such move would damage the economy. In an interview with Fox and Friends, he said the market would crash and everybody would be very poor. He was speaking after Michael Cohen, his ex-lawyer, pleaded guilty to violating election laws and said he had been directed to do so by Mr. Trump. Russia has revealed the extent of its military involvement in Syria's war. A defense ministry video said more than 63,000 Russian military personnel had received combat experience in the country since September of 2015. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said at the end of last year, 48,000 personnel had been deployed. Venezuelans trying to emigrate to Peru are rushing to get there before Saturday when new rules will come requiring them to have valid passports. So far, Venezuelans have been allowed to enter Peru with just their ID cards. More than 2 million Venezuelans have fled their country since 2014. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Sparky, someone is unknowingly wasting energy. We need you to help them save.
I'm on it. I can replace light bulbs with energy-efficient ones. Install Energy Star appliances, seal off their windows and doors, and clean the AC filters. See? All done.
Good job, Sparky. Your next mission is to get rid of that ching-ching nest outside.
Oh boy.
Got the power to conserve the energy you use and save.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
BritK protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
The Kirk Freeport Clearance Center is now open. Kirk Freeport needs to make space for new season merchandise and is offering clearance discount pricing on a wide range of china, crystal, jewelry, watches, and accessories in a brand new clearance store. Located in the Town Center Plaza next to Burger King in downtown Georgetown, new stock will be added all the time, giving you a brand new clearance store to shop every week. The Kirk Freeport Clearance Store is open in Georgetown now. Outrageous discounts with new stock all the time. Get down early and often to avoid missing out.
Water Authority Cayman's Survival Tip Saturday series is back. Throughout the 2018 hurricane season, the Water Authority will be posting helpful preparedness tips on our social media accounts every Saturday. Follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook to stay informed on how you can prevent damage and minimize danger in the event of a storm. Be prepared, be aware, be safe. This hurricane preparedness tip is brought to you by Water Authority Cayman, suppliers of the world's most popular drink.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm honored, truly. I really feel very privileged to have had the opportunity just then to speak to two of the contestants for the upcoming Miss Teen pageant. You don't have to be a fan of pageantry, but the fact that we can look at our young people and with great respect, our young ladies in particular, and to see the poise, the grace, the passion, the conviction that they have. Now, early in the week, we had a chance to speak to, two of the other contestants. And as we go out and cheer on that contestant that we think is the one that we're vying for, or whether we just go and maybe I'll invite you to look through my lens. The fact that some of these young ladies are incredible. They have in our community an opportunity to not just get an education, but they want to make that valuable contribution to our society. How many of us can remember when we were that age, maybe when we were in our 20s? Maybe we just returned from university. Maybe we were just, starting to really find a groove in our careers or in our businesses. And we had this desire to want to make things better. We weren't just chasing the dollar. Could we rekindle that passion and enthusiasm? Could we, through some other young people, help invest in them? Perhaps we can't anymore for some other reason. Maybe we become jaded and jilted or otherwise, but what if we could harness the energy and enthusiasm and nurture them and have those young people take up that mantle and make our society that much better? One that has integrity, one that values and respects not just themselves but each other. It's going to be some open line, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. We had initial anticipated potentially making an accommodation for a guest, but hey, the show goes on and Miss Susan says, listen, you get seated and you get started and you get the ball rolling as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. Open line here on Talk Today, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. You can also WhatsApp your thoughts to us, 925-3261. I had an opportunity to listen to some individuals earlier in relation to, what they thought, would be potentially, and I hesitant and reluctant, I almost want to use a phrase that they use, the game changer. But they said, they've been talking to so many different players in recent times within our community, and nobody seems to want to say publicly what it seems like, and in her view, everybody is saying, and that is that we have for too long either allowed, certain sectors of our society, whether it's a senior civil servant, or whether it's a particular interest group, or whether it's even the elected members of our legislative assembly, to not just, constantly and continually, but for them, to be the ones that seemingly are the only ones to decide what the priorities of the country should be, when, we should embark on certain projects, or how those projects should be shaped. Now, she says that she was looking at what potentially this election would have looked like with all the different factions vying for the voters' attention. And once the election played out, there was this back and forth in negotiation. She said, hey, that's healthy. we'll come up with something that potentially could be different and workable, and who knows. Now to see that it seems in her mind that we're not again looking at what is important for the country long term. We're going to spend money to do something. There's no question. It's going to be an expenditure that is going to be spread over not just a few administrations, but potential over generations. So is it necessary that that expenditure is prioritized? She shared our infrastructure is without question absolutely imperative. We have to have the very best means to move our people from work to home to school to home to work to home to school and around the place. But yet no thought is being had to the issue of, well, do we need to have some sort of properly managed and implemented, mass transit system, whether it's contracted to private sector employers or whether it's wholly subsidized and utilized through government employees. But no thought, she says. We build in nice roads and moves us back and forth, but pushing the bottleneck just down the road. She says, not unlike our, increasing and continual attempts, she says, to just kick the can down the road. We're literally doing it with the roads themselves. But then she says, the airport is there, a lifeline to bring people in and out of the country to help to grow the economy. So too with our cruise port and all of the other developments. But the one thing that we have constantly ignored is our investment in education. Now, she shared that she was sometime in the past, now whether that was, last year or 10 years ago, I didn't ask as I, listened to her share with the others in a small group. She said that we equate our commitment to education with how much money we're spending, whether on buildings, whether on the programs we introduce, whether on the salaries that we pay to people, including the funds to consultants to tell us what to do or that we're doing something wrong or that we're doing something right, or even sometimes she says the equipment that we buy. Now, she finds that two things were, constantly overlooked. One is the maintenance, the ongoing maintenance, and especially the maintenance program that she said used to take place during the summers, when the schools would all not only get a fresh coat of paint, but the bathrooms and classrooms would get properly cleaned. The schoolyard would be heavily maintained, and everything would be really, really spick and span, as she phrased it, come the new school year. Sometimes she says those things don't take place, and when they do, not only is the paint still wet, excuse me, as the students are coming into the classroom, sometimes the painting is only starting as the teachers are settled. Now, that was just across the board. And she says it's very much the same thing in some of the private schools as it is in the public schools. But she shared that not only are we lacking the maintenance and the continual improvement, but what are we doing to make sure that our students are being given the proper instruction? Now, I listened to her, and some of the things that I think she shared, maybe some of the things that we have heard in the past may have been alleged publicly, maybe things we have feared, but some of the things, I believe, as she says, the minute you say it publicly, you get chastised for doing so. She gave as an example the sentiment that she, how do I phrase this without taking away from what she said, but without you, considering it to be improper. She said as an example, you have a teacher in a particular subject looking at the students and deciding, well, in this class of students, only Jimmy, Johnny, Mary, and Sue are capable of passing the exam, so we're only going to, teach to them, and the others can perhaps, find something else to do to occupy their time. Or equally, maybe in the classroom, instead of teaching, all the children the concepts of the subject and how to properly, navigate the subject, they may teach them how to answer a particular question and focus on only some questions and not others, because the probability that those questions will be on the exam, and so the success that the child would have by being able to go in and just regurgitate, would be that much higher. And then that teacher, and she says, by extension, sometimes that school will be seen as having a higher pass rate. But she says there are two things that are immediately, wrong with that approach. One, the student really has no working knowledge of the subject, and when that student goes off to university, you find that the gaps are become very evident. And she says it doesn't matter whether that's in the math or the English or in other subjects. Many of our students, she says, have found that when they've gone to university, that even though they were high-performing students here, they were still, lacking and fairly behind some of their counterparts in the university, whether it's an intro class or whether it should be an advanced class. But she says that we talk a lot about teaching the child to be a critical thinker and developing, these students with their mindset. But it's just talk. Now, perhaps you may find that what I'm repeating on her behalf is harsh. I don't know. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Peter Schmidt here. How are you?
Very blessed and thankful, sir. How are you today?
I'm well as well. Thank you.
All right, man.
I can't complain.
You don't want to complain, sir. You're an awesome man.
Well, no. Unfortunately, we all do that because there is... it's kind of like you're standing on top of a mountain in life and you look down one side and you see a lot of things that should and could be improved, and you look down the other side and you also see good things.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I would just like to talk about a couple of the signs that I see that would indicate in what I would consider us going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And they're as follows. I read in the paper that the police had issued quite a number of tickets to people that had the darkly tinted windows on cars. There were a bunch of DUIs in there and a bunch of other infractions such as not wearing seat belts and stuff like that. Now, I believe, when you start law enforcement or rule enforcement, you're on a good track when you start with the little things, and then people get used to respecting the law and following it. Of course, there are many more things to do, but the second thing that I want to talk about, I caught snippets of the education minister's address and some of the other speakers as well while I was getting in and out of my car this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the minister, the honorable minister, was talking about the new dress code, which I had read about in the newspaper, and also that the improved income for teachers and all those sort of things. Now, I generally would say that teachers in many parts of the world are under remunerated because they have an extremely important job.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, many of them spend more time with the children than the parents do, at least waking hours, let's put it that way.
Right.
Because so many parents both parents have to work just to make ends meet, etc., etc. And so I'm hopeful that the new spirit of having a new dress code and trying to instill some pride in the students and the teachers, of course, the entire school establishment, will also again be a step in the right direction. And once you enforce a code of conduct or a dress code in the school, that already positions the child towards in that direction, and they may end up with less infractions of other things later on. So I see those things, and there are maybe some others that are good signs, in my opinion. And if they are being enforced, and if the pressure is kept on to continue with the effort, and not just we do it today and do PR, and then we'll put it back in a drawer and roll it out some other time again, then it could really make a difference. Of course, you're not going to see the results right away. It's not going to be noticeable that, just because you're not allowing tinted windows, we're going to have all of a sudden a bunch of road angels.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen quick like that. But if it is a broad-based approach of enforcing the existing rules and regulations, and getting the general populace, used to having to follow the rules, and there are many others, especially if you're thinking about the traffic situation. But if we can manage to go in that direction and sustain the effort, I believe we are doing some steps in the right direction.
And this is, as I listened to what you're sharing, and I was reflecting on the opportunity this morning to sit and sort of hear the insight or counsel or concerns of the people and the lady who was sharing. She says, we talk about education, but we are only talking about it in terms of how much money we are spending or have spent or will spend, or the buildings we're building, and it's not a respect for teachers or the value that parents bring to the table, or the need to bring children along and have them understand that you come to school ready to learn.
Yeah.
We do so much. She says that when she was a child going to school, if the resources that were available then were anywhere near what are available now, she thinks she would make Einstein look like a toddler.
Well, I do think that the opportunities are available for many people, including people like myself. If I had enough gumption, I could go back to school now. There are things that I regret never having learned. I regret never having learned to play a musical instrument, and things like that. Now, at this point, the dexterity of my fingers may not be what it once was, especially in the early mornings when I have to kind of crack them in each direction to get them going. So I'm not sure how much of a piano player I would make. But, there are opportunities to get educated. There are opportunities to get educated. And if I understand many of my acquaintances right, it is oftentimes the attitude that some applicants for work display when they come for interviews, etc., why they may not be successful. And I think when a person can learn about the things that never change, having good manners, having respect for people, other people, no matter what walk of life they are, because you don't know necessarily why some people are in certain conditions and why others are not. So the fundamentals of good manners and a good attitude, and being, respectful or grateful for opportunities never change. That, we are in the 21st century, but that does not change. If you display, as a young person in particular, if you display the attitude that you're willing to learn and you're willing to meet somebody halfway, then I believe, oftentimes opportunities are available. I'm not saying everybody's a saint, I'm far from that. But I think we can start making steps in the right direction.
What role then do you think the general public, parents in particular, can and should be playing in this process? And the reason why I ask is that I was just reflecting on what was shared with me this morning, and that we seem to leave it, for them to do. Them being the interest group that may want to be pushing an agenda which allegedly is something that is afoot, or to the senior civil servants, whether they're in education or other aspect, or to the politicians who are driving it, who themselves may be being directed or influenced by, the other hand behind the wheel, so to speak. But what role do we as a populace, the parent, should be playing in this process?
People.
Mm-hmm.
Us, in terms of what kind of role models are we? there is, of course, a lot is lacking. I mean, we are not immune from the influences of the outside world, and if we're looking around us, we see on the one hand what is happening to people to the south of us. Some have political upheaval, some have social upheaval, some have according to the news media, have the absolute pure display of greed, and to the north likewise. Now, maybe even more so, and so we are not immune to the feeling of many people that, well, once you get a bunch of money, you're set up. The problem is the money alone isn't going to do it for you. You know, there is no person here or anywhere else that can live totally on their own. We all are, to some degree, social animals. We have to function in a community of peers, and so many of those kind of things I think we have to rediscover here, because television has made us much more insulated, I guess, from our neighbors, etc., from our community. We can, in fact, spend an entire weekend inside the house on watching television, maybe sports events or anything like that. We don't need to go out and participate in community events. But, of course, and that happens if we don't recognize that there is a value in that social intercourse we may have with other members of the community. So we definitely have a role to play, because young people, it's often been said, the young people will do what they see the elders do, not necessarily what they say, but what they do. And if there is a significant difference between what we preach and what we do, and since I'm saying preach, I'm including houses of worship or community of worship that may worship on weekend and war ship during the week, WAR and not WOR. So I do believe we were the first ones, the adults. We were the first ones to kind of stray from the direction we should be in. Not the children. The children followed us. We didn't follow them.
Exactly, and I think as I listened to you, sort of what the small group was sharing, that we, the populace, the people, whether it's the teacher, the parent, need to be more actively involved and set the example. And even if we're not educators in a sense, we want to see that our children, I'll use, this wasn't the phrase that she sort of used, but take up the mantle. But they need to have the mantle there from the take up, because we have raised the bar and set, and
everybody needs role models.
Exactly.
And what you're saying, we may not be educators, but there is many types of education.
Right.
Okay, I may be able to teach somebody to, how to use garden tools or something like that, because quite honestly, now you do have young people that really no longer have a clue how to do those things, because we have been a society that has become very affluent very quickly compared to some of our neighbors, and we have benefited from having low-cost labor available to come and assist with the homework or housework and yard work, etc. And many of us were never forced to employ our children in maintaining house and yard and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many nowadays of middle-class children are accustomed to washing the parents' car on the weekend, because they get a ride every day of the week to go to school or things like that,
But I think too, respectfully, I think that's part of the challenge. We, just generally speaking, not all of us, we look at how many of us pay for services, from getting our cars washed to getting someone to do our yards, all of the other services which economists would probably say that if it gets difficult financially, are some of the first services and expenditures to be cut from your budget. But what are we doing?
In the past, you would not, nobody would find it strange if you said to your teenage daughter or son, well, we want you to wash the car today because it's Saturday, but I have to go into the office, and unfortunately, I don't have the time to wash it.
Right.
But you are off school, you don't have any homework, you are benefiting from being driven to your sports activities, after-school activities, to school, etc. There's nothing wrong with you washing the car. Nowadays, some of our youngsters would say, but it's hot outside, and things like that. Again, I don't mean to generalize.
No.
But I know it does happen a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's it, man. I think we need to, as parents, need to be parents. And, a comedian once said, he gives his children allowances. You allow them to eat their food, allow them to stay in their house, allow them to, maybe we need to be a little bit more mindful of the example that we're setting, and perhaps the disservice that we're doing to them because we're trying to make it easier and better for them,
Because you need a balance.
Yes, sir.
We recognize that our child may never have to do that kind of work for a living.
But
they may become a person that earns their living in an office. Their time may be very valuable, and they may well say, well, I'll make $100 an hour. I can pay somebody $8 an hour to cut the grass.
Exactly.
I understand all that, but you should still have a grounding in it and be connected to what it takes to work.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, sir, very, very much. And I trust the parents in particular, I'm going to try to take it to heart because we don't know what we're doing sometimes, Appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. And we'll just pause quickly and take our scheduled break. But when we come back, more talk today.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go.
Meet the world with Puritan Cleaners. They are here for you and me. Best cleaners you will see. Happy 60th anniversary to Puritan Cleaners. Puritan, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. Through the month of August, take 16% off on all men and women's apparel. 4 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah, Countryside, Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, Centennial Towers, West Bay, Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. You feel good when you look good.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
One TradeX knows there's more than one way to invest. One TradeX is the Cayman Islands' only fully licensed online broker-dealer, offering discount trading services to individual investors and traders, hedge fund managers, and family offices. One TradeX has the most competitive online trading prices of any offshore broker worldwide, with no custody or management fees, free demonstration accounts, and no charge to open an account with a $5,000 minimum deposit. Trade stocks, options, futures, bonds, and Forex. Learn more and open your free demo account today at OneTradeX.com. OneTradeX, the Cayman Islands' #1 choice for online brokerage. OneTradeX is licensed to conduct securities investment business by the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority.
Country classics.
One night of love don't make up for 6 nights alone. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried. You're cheating hard. You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. I'm a honky-tonk man.
Country classics.
She's a good-hearted woman in love with a good time tonight. On a Sunday morning sidewalk.
If you enjoy classic country music, come hang out with Radio Cayman this Saturday, 3:30 to 6 p.m.
I'm so lonesome I could cry. I'd love to wake up in your arms tomorrow, but I'm so afraid of losing you again.
This Saturday afternoon, following American Country Countdown, 3:30 to 6 on Radio Cayman.
Country classics.
Come on, let's go.
Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming Saturday, November 3rd in Grand Cayman and November 24th in Cayman Brac. Visit CaymanActive.com to register today or stop by Radio Cayman on Elgin Avenue. This year's funds go to benefit the NCVO, the John Gray High School Music Department, and the So-and-So Club of Cayman Brac.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us and invite you for a few minutes of your time for opportunity to share with you an upcoming fashion show. Miss Janice Baker together with Miss Jasmine Adrian joins us. And Miss Jasmine, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
It looks a good day, right? Yeah? All right. Well, tell us about it, man. We have a coming up at Pedro St. James fashion show. Shut up.
This fashion show. It's the fourth annual fashion show, but for the past 2 years we've been putting it on a broader scale. Mm-hmm. We had it last year at the West End, and we're having it this year at the Pedro St. James. I would like for this year it be a little bit better.
Okay. Do one favor before you talk, just take your mic, bring it up.
The mic and bring it up. Okay.
Just remember Susan had it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We'll say something else, but we'll leave for now.
Yeah, so where was I now?
So if you had it West End, that was this year of Pedro St. James, right? It's a fourth time around?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
Right. All right.
Of course, each year I'm expecting it to be better and better because, you grow as you go along. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I'm always growing. So this year I would like for the VIP to feel very special, to feel like they're really getting something for, of course, their money's worth. And believe it or not, it's going to a worthy cause because if anybody knows Jeshreen, I am a giver. And I've been giving money to parents for school. It keep under the cover, but, it is what it is. And I'm not rich, you know what I mean? I don't have it myself, but I am a giver. So, I just said, why not, do something. But of course, I would like this year for it to be very special, where I can donate. I can able to donate to Meals on Wheels, or some good cause.
I think, so for people who want to know, where can we get tickets and how much are they?
The tickets are $50. It's only $50, and for VIP, it's $100. VIP will get a glass of champagne and a little finger food. And, of course, I would like to able to,
talk to our sponsors and the like. Huh?
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, Ms. Jasmine Adrian.
The sponsors I like to, big up to, of course, KB Studio and APS Security. Chill Spot, they always do good, give a sponsor. And, of course, I must say a big shout out to Miss Debbie from Kirk Freeport. I know she's more time, at home, but she always tries to see what she can do to support. I'm so appreciate. And Chill Spot Restaurant. Leaf of Life Variety Store as well, and they will also participate in, and I tell you, that is a marvelous store. It is so unique. You would be amazed to see what you can find in that store. Very, very, very surprising. And a special shout out to Miss Barbara for her support as well. Ear Fashion, which located in Savannah. All your ear supply, you can get it at Ear Affairs down there in the...
So what would the... Susan was just asking me, what would the evening be like? Susan was asking, I excited to know. So it's at Pedro, 7 o'clock on Saturday.
It's at
what is it going to be like?
At the Pedro Castle, St. James, and we hope, for it to be on time. It's going to be a nice show. We have male models, female models. It's going to be a great show. Great family affair.
Miss Janice,
yeah.
You're going to walk on the stage as well?
Oh, yeah. I am. And, she has her fans, and a lot of people is really looking forward to see Janice as well.
Oh, yeah. She always had a step.
Also, last but certainly not least, Miss Rochelle. Miss Rochelle is Cayman's youngest designer. And our mom, Miss Norma, they go worldwide. They're international. Marvelous people. Marvelous people. If it wasn't for Miss Norma, I couldn't pull off this show many times. Because Norma is a credible woman. She's really, really a sweet person. So, we just want to come out and support this event and see the summer wear. It's going to be good. It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, I tell you, it sounds promising. As you look, some people always want a little bit of, show and tell, a little fashion and swag. And Janice walking the runway.
I'll be doing my thing.
You'll be doing it?
Yes.
You always lit up the stage. You always like it. I think if you were in another era, another place, you'd be on the cover of the big magazines, right?
I hear you.
Walking the runways in Milan or who knows, right, Miss Janice?
Who knows? Who knows?
So for the evening, as people come out and they see it, it's going to be a wonderful time. I really appreciate you sharing with us. And fashion shows, I think.
Yeah, there is also a gift voucher from. I
can't. I would lend you mine, but mine isn't working either. As we speak to Miss Jasmine Adrian, and now people want tickets. Where can they get tickets from?
Tickets are located just about everywhere. They can get tickets at Miss Lorna, Creative Design. They can get tickets from Janice, get tickets from myself. There is a number on the flyer. It's 323-7461. Call for tickets, and the Creative, what it's called, Leaf of Life of tickets as well. Just about everybody got tickets around.
All right. And as you shared, regular admission is 50, but VIP is 100.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and there are going to be prizes and surprises. Who sit on the lucky chair will get it.
Yeah. Hey, that's what makes it inviting, right? And you'll be out there, and I think Pedro is a wonderful setting. I always like how the backdrop it provides.
Classy place, I tell you.
It truly is, man. Well, I thank you for popping with us for a few minutes and sharing.
And thank you so much for having me.
No, man. No, we were glad you could make it. We're expecting you for one, but hey, you know, life is busy. You guys are getting ready for the final stages in the planning, and Saturday is only, 2 clicks away. Right, Janice?
Yes, it is.
She's amazing, man. She graces the stage. I tell you, man. I say she rocks it, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, right? And
Thank
have
you
a
so
wonderful,
much.
successful evening Saturday as well.
Thank you.
God bless.
Right. Amen.
Looking forward to see you all out.
All right. Saturday 7 at Pedro. We're going to pause, though. And when we come back, have some things in store for you. Let's see how we can get that rolling. And Mario Rankin will sit with us and we'll tell you about some things that are being planned. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hello, Cayman. My name is Saleha Green. I'm your contestant number 1 representing Georgetown.
It's Leticia Bush. I am contestant number 2 and I'm representing Bordentown.
Contestant number 3, Trinity Dixon, representing Bordentown.
My name is Aaliyah Harrison and I'm representing the beautiful district of West Bay.
I'm Caitlin Seymour, contestant number 5, representing the district of Bordentown.
You're listening to Radio Cayman.
Join us on August 25th for the 30th annual Miss Teen Cayman Islands pageant held at the Lion Center.
Be there! Be there!
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I'm gonna walk them golden stairs. 'Cause I know my Jesus answers all my prayers.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Praise time.
There's nothing to go back to. No. Give me Jesus in the morning. For the God of the mountain is still God in the valley.
Shout with joy to God, all the earth sing glory to His name. Praise time. Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us. And again, thanks to Mr. Mario Rankin for sitting with us. And as sometimes you see and hear directly the comments of some of our people who share, as they look at you and say, "Boy, they got to commend you for not just the passion, but the conviction, the willingness to sort of step up and run with it, man." Mario, well, glad you got the energy. Good afternoon to you, my friend. How are you?
Good afternoon to you and to your listening public. I'm always up for the task.
Well, I tell you, man, I was sharing earlier an opportunity to sit with, I call them educators. I'm not hopefully saying that improperly and how people misinterpret it, but what encourages me is that there is this growing passion in our society and a recognition from almost all quarters that we're in this together and we got to work. And despite the almost acceptance that those who speak out are going to be attacked, going to be accused and maligned and ostracized and all these things, this lady or one of the ladies was saying that education is too important to ignore. And it's not just education in terms of the schools, the buildings, the teachers, the students getting in there. It's education about what is happening. And just to share with you, with her consent, she said, she said, I know you have that young Mario ranking on all the time, right? I believe that was the exact way she phrased it, right? And if it wasn't for the smile and the gleam in her eye, I thought, oh, where is she going with this? She said, boy, I have to hand it to him because he speaks. Now, hopefully he's not being punished too much, for what he shares. But she says, we're not taking up about her word, the mantle, because she must have said it, 15 times at least. I lost count after that. As a society, we're not standing the gap, we're not taking on the mantle and moving forward with something. Other times, we say what we wish we had, and it's too late. And she thought, in this instance, for her, it's education, but Mario, you've picked up the mantle, man, and you're not only running strong with it, but you're bringing others along.
Well, I mean, I try to anyway, and I try to at least do my part. And I think that if you had an opportunity to go one-on-one with each individual in Cayman that consider Cayman as their home, that you would find that a lot of people have concerns and issues and things that they would like to talk about that they reserve from speaking publicly about it. But it gives them an opportunity when people like myself would come and express and talk about an issue that might be relevant to their situation. I try to keep it on a national level because I know that if we talk about the things that are fundamentally affecting all of us, I think it creates that level of awareness and attention that is needed in order to create that level of change based on what we say on the radio, because we have to be responsible for what we say as well. Yeah, we just can't go there and just say things and because we want to have somebody to react or have a comment. Or I don't particularly post too many things on social media other than like educational stuff, history, background, anything that's relevant to our environment. I would post those things, but I don't write posts to aggravate comments to and I mean sometimes it's good to have good dialogue, and I'll contribute to a few, and it's only nature to at least it's my nature to, if I see something that is worth commenting on, I will make my contribution, whatever. But and for the most part, I think that once other Caymanians who have things that they would like to talk about, who are not necessarily as vocal publicly as I am, or people like myself, they hear other people that they could relate to, and it makes them comfortable. And then even if it's just to warrant a conversation with them privately, you get to understand what they're going through or what their issues are, and then you can put that in your database and have that and say, oh well, I was speaking with this person and this were the concerns they had, which is very similar to mine or different from mine, whatever the case may be. But when we look at the diversity of our society and how we have grown over the past 30 years in terms of cultures, we have 120-something different nationalities who live and work within the Cayman Islands. Some who are residents, some who have become more permanent as residents. And when we see the strain on the infrastructure and all the other things to accommodate certain infrastructural, growth to accommodate the population growth, unless we have a strong national plan or perception or idea as to where we need to go, how are we going to get there, and what we should look like when we get there, and sustainable development, all these things play an interesting part, an important part in this process. So, for me, if analyzing all the stuff that's happening in the last 15 to 20 years, I wonder why we don't have moratoriums on PRs and status grants and these things. And when I say that, it's not to be discriminative against anybody who's applied, but it's just simply to sit down and digest the growth that we're having and analyze the culture and the background and the influences that is going to be a result of having an influx here or there. It's not to pinpoint any one person or any one nationality, but it's to take time to digest.
I think too, as I listen to you, and I'm just thinking back to two things quickly, not just what the lady shared as I was looking at, in my mind, how she said it in her compliment to you, but the conversation early in the week where a fellow said, we're looking at our media, we listen to our news report, we hear so many people on work permit, and we watch that number fluctuate. And he said he's always questioned, well, when a number is down, are we also looking corresponding at what has the increased population like? So has the work permit numbers come down because the PR numbers have gone up, the residency numbers have gone up?
Because once you have residency with the right to work, you're no longer required
the work permit.
Which that comes off of the statistics, right?
Right.
And again, that is the process of digestion, right? So we have to look at the population as a Caymanian people. We have to look at the individuals who have gone through the process to become Caymanians. And then we have to look at individuals who are now taking the first steps to take the process to become a permanent Caymanian. And then we have to understand that if we're not infrastructurally sound or capable of digesting a large number of individuals by the mere fact that they've been here long enough under the laws and the policies and legislation that allow them to apply based on the criteria, we need to have a strategy on how to deal with the growth, because it has to be sustainable. So, the problem is that I think we've always put the dollars and cents on the top end of how we approach certain issues in our country. That's why we have 24,000 plus work permits, because we didn't look at it. We didn't pay a lot of attention of what type of social effect that we would have from that amount of work permits. We looked at the financial benefits from that, and that's what we based our actions on in terms of dealing with it. So it's something that we have to have a conversation about. There are many other pressing things, but this is also a very important area that we need to take a strong look at, because a lot of times we'll ask ourselves amongst ourselves when we either at a person's house or having a party or we out in public and we're socializing with friends. We always periodically I would ask, or somebody in my group would ask, oh well, what a Caymanian is or what a Caymanian look like, and you just don't know these days, which is not a bad thing. I'm just simply saying is that we need to strongly consider putting proper strategies in place in order to cope with whatever the progress is, whether it's by way of human stock, whether it's by way of development, anything that we have to accommodate for by way of infrastructure or policies or legislation. It has to be sustainable, and we need to have a strong grip and control over that growth. Right now, if you were to go out and do a public survey, and you walk down the road with a microphone and a notepad, and you ask everybody the same question, say 20 people, what are your thoughts on the influx of different nationalities coming here, applying for work permit, and then applying for PR, and what is your opinion based on that number of individuals? You'd probably find where everybody would probably say the same thing. Oh, well, it's not like it was 20 years ago. You would know everybody pretty much by face or by nickname or by, what corner they lived on. And it's not that way anymore. I'm not saying that's how we should be. What I'm saying is that we must have a database.
All right. We do have a call online now. WhatsApp I want to share with you. Remind me to do that after the break. But let's go to our phones.
Yep.
Mario Rankin is our guest. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Mr. Sterling, how are you today, sir?
Very blessed and thankful, sir. How about yourself?
Yeah, Mr. Mario, good to hear you on there again, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, always a pleasure listening to you. But I want to ask you a question, and make me on the topic that you're on.
That's fine.
But it's a question, and it's a thing that really been bothering me for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And what it is that what is your opinion about people from other parts of the world coming here joining the police force? Why I say that is because they're saying that they cannot get enough Caymanians or enough Caymanians are not applying. That, number one, I don't believe that. And number two, because I've known of some Caymanians that went there, were shortlisted, and they said that they couldn't write statements. So
Right.
Like I say, I keep repeating this again. When I joined the force, I didn't pass the exam. But Mr. Rude Evans, and I know he don't mind me calling his name, and Roy Archer, the late Roy Archer, God bless his soul. There were two men that were interested in Caymanians, and they said, you didn't pass the test, but you're a Caymanian. We got to take you, and listen to my word, we got to train you. We are going to train you.
Right.
Now, anybody that comes off of the street to join the police force, they're not going to know how to write a statement acceptable to the police department. But that's what they have a training school for.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I was told when they sent us Barbados. We went to learn what we didn't know.
Well,
and the part with that, it seems like they don't want to train the Caymanians, and they are discouraging the Caymanians. And can you name me one other place in the world that you know that other? I know it's not Jamaica. I know it's not England. I know it's not Cuba. I know it's not Honduras. So I don't know where else that you can go and join the police force like that.
Well, no, okay.
Mark, sorry to apologize to you. Susan's reminding me. Respond to that question.
I can respond to it right before.
Yeah, make him respond to it.
60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Before the 2 o'clock hour.
Go ahead.
All right. To his question. Number one, there are modern technology out there that could eliminate the physical handwriting statements. You can do a recording, and then you can take it to someone and have it written. Anyway, we can remedy that problem. Number two, I know for a fact that they're not leaning towards hiring Caymanians as a police in this country. We know that because of the small number of individuals. And I know of an individual who I happen to work with in two separate establishments here in Cayman, and I won't call his name. He's a lawyer now, but after he had stopped working at Immigration Services by will, nothing happened that he left. He resigned, and then he went to apply for the police, and they told him, oh well, he doesn't fit the criteria. However, he went on to be a lawyer and now is a prosecutor for the Crown. But again, and he's a Caymanian, so I don't understand what criteria that they were looking for. So after the break, if you want to continue.
Yeah. All right, I hear that voice of Susan in my head. Let's answer it and go to the news when we come back. More talk today. Please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
Big news from this morning's education professionals welcome as the Minister of Education confirms teachers will be receiving salary increases. The Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly says starting this September, teachers will be earning $4,300 per month, and next September, no government teacher will be making less than $5,000 per month. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, an anesthetist killed his wife and 16-year-old daughter using a yoga ball filled with carbon monoxide, a Hong Kong court has heard. Prosecutors said Kao Kim Sun left the inflatable ball in the boot of a car where the gas leaked out and killed them. The pair were found dead inside a locked car in 2015 in a case that initially baffled police. Mr. Kao has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of murder. British Airways and Air France have announced that they will stop flying to Iran next month. Both airlines said that the route was not commercially viable. The reintroduction of U.S. sanctions has caused a slump in the value of the Iranian currency, the rial, making it harder for Iranians to travel overseas. British Airways restarted the service to Tehran 2 years ago after a 4-year gap. The last flight will be on September 22nd, returning the next day. And U.S. series The Big Bang Theory will air its final episode in 2019, ending one of the longest-running sitcoms in U.S. history. The program's 12th and final season will premiere on September 24th and is expected to conclude in May. The Big Bang Theory has attracted more than 18 million viewers every year since its 6th season aired in 2012. It reportedly averaged 18.6 million viewers per episode in its 11th season, more than any other show on U.S. television. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thank you for joining us. And truly, a special thanks to Mr. Mario Rankin. And I say it to him each time, and I come keep my company. It only must mean he's a sucker for punishment. Because people will say, boy, you slumming again, and you up for that kind of thing.
Well,
I feel bad for you, man. But before we continue our discussion, let me not be openly and overly disrespectful to our friends in East End. There's a nice family fun day being planned in East End this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the George Dixon Park up in East End. And hopefully I can, be reminded to extend an invitation on behalf of the East End Community Foundation to come out, this Saturday, bring the community together, a little bit of food and, some activities at the Kids Corner and stuff. This is what communities are about, right, Mario? So
correct.
11 till 5 this Saturday at the George Dixon Park in East End. Invite to the wider community. But Mr. Rankin, thank you for letting me just say that because, really, Cayman, we're part of our community and we can tell things that are happening. Oh, there's nothing going on. It's summer. Well, here's something happening for the community. During the break, so we were chatting, but the caller before was asking a question.
And I just want
to
right. And I want to finish responding to what he asked because I think that when we look at the application process for and the list of requirements for entry level police officer, I think that we need to take a serious look at that because we do have capable individuals who may not be able to put to write and even read in some cases, but it's not that they can't learn the basic skills. And like Mr. George expressed earlier, when he first went there, that the senior officers decided to work with him and have him skilled up, so you can put him in an area in which they can participate that doesn't require. Because it don't take a genius to answer the phone and say, Georgetown Police Station, can I help? You understand? Until you have them trained up and have them in, whatever the case is. We can certainly do better in that regard. And he's right. We have predominantly foreign people working in our police force, and it's a bit concerning because a lot of them don't know the first of all, they don't know the culture of the Cayman Islands or its people. And I'm not saying that we don't need foreign police officers. I think that we need to put in place the things that are necessary in order for us to have an adequate police service at all costs.
Prior to the break, right, I was looking at it. Sometimes I keep saying to people, it's challenging for me because when you talk and I want to look at and listen, but I know that I got to pay attention to all these little channels where information comes in so we can share it with the listeners. So someone sent through two, I guess I call them messages. One was talking about the issue about how our community is. I want to share that. The second comment from the same listener is specifically about employees on work permits, and just sharing that two perspectives. Seemingly, we have people on a work permit who don't have the skill sets, not just the language skill, but the reading, the writing, the skill sets. One, only because the caller referenced the policing. One comment was specifically with police. Relays an incident where had to give a statement. The police officer taking the statement, obviously demonstrated some inability to use the computer to type the statement, and shares it in a way that perhaps some would say,
well, learning on a job, right?
Somewhat. So. The comment prior to that, person just sent through something else. I'll read it in a second. Something before that was this whole issue of the inability or the unwillingness of employees, and in the brackets it said, to some extent, employers to speak out against the issues, public sector and private sector, because they feel a sense of imposed sanctions.
Well, the reality is that we've sold out our labor force to cheap labor. That's the reality of it. And the reason why so many Caymanians are being marginalized and disenfranchised, which I hate to use that term, or being overlooked, is because the Caymanian not only isn't willing, just cannot work for slave wages. And that's the reality of it. We live in a very high cost of living jurisdiction. And the government has done really absolutely nothing to engage in a meaningful conversation in order to reduce that. So it's hard for a Caymanian to go out there and say, okay, I'll work for $2.50 an hour or $4 an hour. And then, hope that you're fairly, square me into the gratuity pool. And then hopefully I'll be able to go home and pay one of my bills. The thing is that when we look at the cheap labor market and how it has been exaggerated over the past couple of years, because businesses are enjoying the cheap labor workforce because it allows their company to make more money. So the reality is, until we can fix the labor policies that ensure that Caymanians have the opportunity given to them, not where I'm not going to drive down the road and take a person out of the house and say, here's your job, because we shouldn't have to do that. The reality is that it's for the government, it's their responsibility to create a sustainable environment for all its people in all sectors. So when we look at the workforce and the labor force, there are many issues, grave issues, that are just not being taken on by politicians because there are no real political mileage to gain from, because all of those things are long-term issues. So politicians tend to look for short-term fixes in order to create these political emblems to be re-elected every 4 years, called political sovereignty. So for anybody to reasonably think that the government or anybody in government is going to sit down and find an issue that has fundamental problems that is going to take 10 to 15 years to get it, to once we implement it, it'll take that long to bear any real results, they're not interested in doing that. And history teaches us that. But again, when you look at the fear of victimization for somebody who want to speak out about certain issues with the labor force or the workforce and whatnot, it's real, because we're not living in a stretched out piece of land where, Sterling business is 700 miles away from mine, so whatever he do over there will take at least 6 months to get to me. Yeah. The reality is that we live in a small community. Everybody knows everybody. Politicians are heavily involved in just about every sector of this society, and we all know that some applications get processed quicker than others.
With that in mind, let me ask, not just maybe this is a response from you, but it was shared again recently that this sort of self-imposed, censorship that we sort of have accepted in our society. Individual was saying that whether it's the politician who could influence the potential award or be perceived to influence the potential award of some contract or some gift or some scholarship or something.
PR application or status and all of
all of the above. All of the above. Whether that's the case, there is that perception, right? And then as a result, the wider community who should be involved with, let's demand this because it's good for the society. There's no real public voice, no real public champion. Now, I see the frustrations of people who come on, only to use him as an example because he has said it many times. He said, Mr. Bill Adams said, doesn't matter what I say, they stop listening because it's me saying it. Yeah. So let me give it to somebody else to say. But nobody would question his, sincerity, his genuineness, his true love for wanting it to be better. Now, you may not agree with the way he says it or when he says it, but can you truly doubt the truth of what he's saying?
Yeah, and you're right. I think that, the landscape in Cayman is kill the messenger, disregard the message. And we've seen that in many cases. We see that all the time because everybody's emotionally attached to whatever their political beliefs are. And until they can detach emotion from the reality of politics, they will only be then that they will formalize a proper and reasonable opinion on any issue, regardless of what the issue is. But if we're going to continue to go down the path that we're going down in terms of dollars and cents, because it seems like that's the first tier of understanding that we have, where we look at any policy or any industry or any implementation or any proposal, and we look at the dollar and cents. Well, what does it offer as a country, and how is it beneficial to us, and from a financial standpoint? Well, we don't look at the social issues that certain things bring. We don't look at the educational issues. We don't look at the health issues. We don't look at the fundamental things that affect us based on implementation of things that could easily been avoided if we had taken the proper look at it first. And if you have a scenario where you have, like we have here in Cayman, where we have a steady growth in work permit numbers, and then we have a steady growth in the numbers of individuals who are unemployed, then we have a problem, right? Because then it's no longer about job creation. It's about job placement and job security. And until we can put strong legislative policies in place that says to every institution in this country that if you have X amount of work permits, and here is the criteria, here is the requirements, and then we have now a harvest of Caymanians who we have ensured has benefited from the success, the economic success that we're having in the service industry where we collect GDP. And we've taken those funds and we've prioritized, education and scholarship programs to tool up our people in order to take positions in these institutions in which we grant permits for, because we've seen for far too long where companies has tailor-made jobs for their friend abroad, and we need to put a stop to that. And we don't need to make any apology about it. We don't even need to have a discussion about the consideration of how they're going to think if we put the policy in place. We need to simply say, okay, this is what's in the best interest of our workforce. This is what we're going to do simultaneously in order to educate and tool and give our people the skill set in order to fill these posts. And then we're going to give them a transitional period, because it's not overnight. It's not an overnight fix. And then we'll say, okay, what we'll do then is we'll say, and I'll just speak hypothetically, you're a senior accountant at a firm and you're on a 3-year work permit. Okay? Subjected to your work permit grant, here is what the government is going to require from you, meaning the employer, because the individual is just a person behind the permit. Okay, so we have, and according to our database, we have 50 individuals off to universities now, attaining that exact same skill set. When they come back now, we're gonna need you to take a pick out of that 50 based on your interviews, put them in that workforce. That employer that you say have the skill set that your company need in order to be prosperous, they have to train them up in a time frame, in a time period that will be delegated. In some cases, things will be different. Some learn quicker than others, and then that person will be integrated into that position. And only if that person isn't ready that we extend that period and extend the permit in order for them to properly give that Caymanian the experience that needed to put what they learned in university into practical skills, and then they transition into that position. And we need to make up a legislative law that says that. We don't need these institutions who are employing all of these overseas workers and allowing them to dictate the requirements to be a part of the negotiation when we create these legislations, these policies. We need strong Caymanian politicians who have foresight and who are working in the best interest of Caymanian people, regardless of how you attain your citizenship. You need to have representatives who are going to put policies in place to protect the very way of life that Caymanians have to depend on in order to be a productive member of society. And we don't need to have any discussion with any institution, because the work permit database is already a fantastic platform for us to see exactly qualifications, salaries, what's expected, and how many people you need. It's already there.
Use the information you have.
Use the information you have.
All right, let's pause and take our final break. Always appreciative of your insight and input, Mr. Mario Rankin. When you come back, more talk today.
Advance Automotive is celebrating 10 years as Cayman's authorized Chevrolet dealer and is giving away $10,000 to one lucky customer to celebrate. Buy any new Chevrolet from Advance Automotive and you'll be entered to win $10,000 cash. Entries close 1st of December or after 100 cars sold, whichever comes first. Buy your new dream car and enter to win $10,000 cash for Advance Automotive's 10th birthday. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit AdvanceChevrolet.com for more details today.
As parents and a community, it is our desire to have happy children who are able to cope with all of life's challenges. However, despite our loving support, sometimes our children suffer in silence and put on a brave face. Do you suspect that your child is experiencing problems, secretly struggling to cope, and is overwhelmed? If there is a possibility that they are anxious, experiencing troubling thoughts, and are suffering in silence, it is important to seek professional help. The Ministry of Community Affairs, in partnership with the Alex Panton Foundation, is hosting 5 community presentations on self-harm prevention this month and in September. These free talks cover how to spot the warning signs and who to turn to for expert advice. A question and answer will follow each talk. To get more information on the dates and venues of these presentations, please call 244-2426 or visit the Cayman Islands government website today.
The following is a public service announcement. The Council of the Justices of the Peace Association is pleased to advise the public that general document signing services will be provided 3 days a week in the front lobby of the Government Administration Building. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon, the following services will be provided by volunteer justices: witnessing a signature on an authentic document, certifying a document as a true copy of the original once the original has been provided, witnessing a signature and completing the portion on a Cayman Islands or British passport application, including acknowledging that the photo provided is a true likeness. Please note, a JP must have known the passport applicant for no less than 2 years before signing the application. Identification cards must be presented, and persons seeking the services of the justices must ensure that proper attire is worn when visiting the Government Administration Building.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for thinking, talking, sharing. As we engage our public and populace, and hopefully as a people we start to appreciate that, the policies and principles that we, hopefully aspire to are the ones that shape our future. Mario Rankin sits with us, and we're grateful for the opportunity. A few minutes left in the program, but it's all the better because people are asking a couple of things to share with you. But go ahead, Mr. Rankin.
Well, I just want to point out something that's very comical, right, but very serious at the same time. Now, and I know of a scenario, of a case of what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. How is it that a person can come to our shores as a secretary in a law firm, and then 15 years later, 16 years later, that person is a partner? Mm. No. I'm not saying that I don't admire the hustle of that person.
No.
And the ambition and the fortitude to attain what it is that they set out to attain. But I'm saying, why have we never heard a story like that for a Caymanian?
Who comes in at ground level and then...
Well, see, because we like to avoid the obvious. Like, okay, obviously that person had someone within that firm who's looking out for their interests, who was able to put them in the right position, in the right room, and give them the proper training and all these things. So all I'm simply saying is that if these things are allowed and go on the radar because it's within a private firm, this is why the government need to have strong policies and laws in place to prevent those things from happening. Because if you don't have those things in place, it's going to happen, and we can't sit over here and cry wolf or cry over spilled milk, because it's our fault. It's our fault that we have weak policies in this country to protect Caymanians. It's nobody else's fault, and I'm not blaming any individual who come here and take advantage of the system, because it's our fault. Mm-hmm. We allowed them to do it. We have done nothing in this country in 40 years by way of policy or law that was in the best interest of a Caymanian person. That's a fact. You can go as far back as you want to look. No, remember the other day we had an issue with the backlog of PR? The whole cabinet bent over back ways and fixed that. No, we got people who can't afford to pay their bills because the cost of living is so high. And the people who is the reason for the cost of living has been left alone, unbridled to do whatever they want. But I don't see the government out there bending over back ways to fix that. So let's see what your
couple of comments here on the WhatsApp, man. And I was just thinking about, all right, so a couple of comments. We'll read this one now, right? Let me read them all first, right?
Of course.
This one says, we'll invite the comments of either yourselves or listeners on how you feel about the following comments. Real implementation of the 16-year-old new national public school uniform policy. My view is going to be chaos. This one says, as is the overall problem in Cayman, who is going to implement or enforce? It says, will this policy be enforced from the tutorial class daily? Will teachers have a dress code as well? Or can they wear sandals, appear ungroomed and unprofessional hairstyles, shirts out of pants and undergarments are exposed? I feel show uniforms have already been purchased and that will not meet the new policy requirements, and parents won't have known early enough and will not have the finances to choose uniforms that will meet the requirements. Although we are not a third world country, how many parents are going to have access to online information or have the academic ability to read the policy? It says, in complete agreement, the students should not be allowed to begin tutorial and be recorded as absent until the requirements are met. I share that in the sense that a number of individuals have put forward a view that there's so much fundamentally wrong, but part and parcel is the lack of enforcement of existing laws and policies. And secondly, this seemingly, I was looking for it during the break, the person sent, I recall some the gist of it. Seemingly, our answer to solving the problem is to make it go away by making it retroactive. It gave us two examples. You referenced the PR backlog. We said, okay, well, let's do a brushstroke and make everybody citizens. Mm-hmm. And secondly, when we did amendments to the traffic law, what would should have been illegal and probably still be was now legal to do so.
Well, maybe we should put in the Constitution that if the government fail at doing its duty as duly elected individuals in this country, if they fail at creating a sustainable environment for all Caymanians, that we should file a lawsuit against the government for failing that they do this, because certainly they would argue that the reason why they fixed the PR disaster is because they're in fear of lawsuits. So, you know, if we're going to look at transparency and fairness and all these things across the board, no one wants to have the conversation because it's not as complicated as they would like for you to believe it is. And the biggest problem has always been is that we got plenty of grape tree politicians, and that's
grape tree politicians.
Yeah, because they'll huddle up all day, but when it's time to put pen to paper and show your face, they're nowhere to be seen. But at the end of the day, I feel like there has been a paradigm shift in terms of awareness and education and individuals who are now contributing to certain causes, whether it be publicly or privately.
Okay.
And I've witnessed that in these last couple of years with individuals who may not come out and say they support Mario Rankin, but I can tell you if you go and talk to them, they'll be in full support privately. But and I don't have an issue with any of that, right? And it's always been very interesting to me how a politician can tell you about all the problems we have 6 weeks before election, and then one day after they have totally forgotten about the things that they campaigned on and the things that they came in and about you vote on. So,
all right, let me read this other WhatsApp for our listeners. The other voice is Mario Rankin, and boy, if you accuse him of keeping bad company, keep him with me. Well, my apologies, man. I've got my hair done next time. It says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Two things puzzle me. One, is the DG, referencing the deputy governor, currently residing at Government House while acting governor? Two, if not, then why is the butler, the baker, and the pancake maker, and only God knows who else, according to the lack of transparency, still in the government payroll for the government house? Who are they preparing the next breakfast?
Well, you got to remember, these people got families and got to pay bills too, right? So, and again, if I can tell you right now, I'll be very straight with you. Because, I don't, listen, I call a spade a spade. If Mario Rankin was the acting governor, I would be on the 7 Mile Beach. You can tell the world that. Those police and those helpers and all those caretakers would not be there in vain. That's just me. So I have to be very real, and and that's how I am. But
the full trap into the office.
I mean, the reality is, Sterling, is that we have to, continue awareness programs and educational programs to get our people more involved. We have to collectively, do our own share, do what we have to do as an individual in order to get everybody involved in that. And everything that we do from a policy standpoint has to be inclusive of everybody, has to be in consideration of all aspects of society. And if the government would show the same emphasis and interest into the things that are affecting the majority, right, who don't have the financial resources to pay them for their attention, I think that things would get a little better. I mean, the cost of living, we already know that's an issue. We know what we can do to reduce it. But yet we fail to do those things. And these are the things that are reoccurring, and people starting to get fed up. And you start to see all of the social meltdown and the deterioration of individuals' quality of life because of it. And I think that until something is actually being done, we have to continue the trek. And we're gonna take a lot of licks along the way. We're gonna have those who like it, those who don't. They're gonna have those who talk against it. You have those who do. So at the end of the day, you have to be willing to put up that fight. You have to be thick-skinned and in order to tolerate and have a high threshold of tolerance in order to maintain certain things. So I want to fight for what's best interest for everybody in the Cayman Islands. We need to put a moratorium down on all these PRs and status grants, because these are the individuals who are flushing out the capable Caymanians because they already have somebody in those establishments who are looking out for them. And nobody don't want to admit it, but I can tell you this right now. No politician in the history of the Cayman Islands could ever come forward and consciously in their right mind say that they ain't never made a phone call or never made a visit and say, hey, can you help this person? From a board or a committee or an office. We know that it take place, and we're not saying that there's anything bad for doing it. We're just saying to start doing it for the right people. You understand? If you're going to do it for one, do it for all. So I just want one last thing to say before we shut it down, Ms. Susan. I know that time is drawing near. Obviously, I've been heavily involved with trying to push forward this people-initiated referendum, and I think that we are starting to get all groups to gravitate towards each other. Everybody's becoming more insightful of the other group, and we're all trying to get on the same page. And the opposition is about to debate their submission that they made on Thursday on the on the people-initiated referendum for the decision on the cruise berthing and cargo port. I think it's absolutely essential that all persons who are concerned about the outcome of the port, whether we bill it or we don't bill it, that they should participate in this petition to take it to a referendum vote. The petition is not to decide whether we're doing the port or not. I want to be very clear. It is not a one organization initiative. It is a people initiative, which means inclusive of everybody. And hopefully by early next week, after the opposition has made their arguments on the floor of the House, we suspect that the government will strike it down. I don't know. Let's just see. Maybe they got a message from God. Who knows? But again, we are willing to move forward, exercise our constitutional right to engage in a people-initiated referendum. So I encourage all, when they see all of the packets come out, and get informed and put your name on the petition in order to take it to the vote and let the people decide. You all have a good day, and thank you again, Sterling and Radio Cayman.
Thank you too for sharing this and keep us informed with that. It's for the populace to be a part of their democracy. Quick reminder on behalf of the East End Community Foundation that this, Saturday at the George Dixon Park in East End from 11 to 5, there's a Founder Fun Day. So, all in the East End community, go out and be a part of it and enjoy yourselves. So hopefully we can remind you tomorrow. There's a Miss Teen on Saturday night as well. Now, tomorrow's Friday. I trust that you'll be a part of it. Come back for the record in the morning. Stay tuned for Talk Today. Have some wonderful things in store for you. Until then, be blessed.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman. We've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman.